Let's be honest, your contribution to the world so far is a browser history you make sure no one sees. Incognito tabs, deleted logs, hours gone, nothing built. Now contrast that with this. A masjid is being completed in a village in Norway where Muslims have nothing. It will stand for generations. Those who donate will be remembered by Allah, and those who don't will quietly return to the shadows, back to the consumption, secrecy, and absolute nothing to show for it. So do the right thing. Pause the video, click the link below and donate for your own akhirah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing? Dr. Mohammed Marandi is an individual who's come on Piers Morgan's show many times. He's an excellent spokesperson and analyst, actually a professor at the University of Tehran. And an individual who's been a pro-Palestine supporter from the very beginning. I came across this particular exchange between Marandi and Piers Morgan. I want to watch it with you and then come back and respond in kind.
And you advocate the devil.
It sounds like a guy who is trying to dictate to women how they should dress, how they should behave. Do you understand that in the West, we look at that as reprehensible behavior?
No, in the West, you objectify women, you commodify women, and you sexualize women, and you have Epsteins and many Epsteins who control.
Well, we give women the freedom to dress how they wish. Why would you decline them that freedom?
In Iran, we have women pilots, we have women scientists. My boss at the University of Tehran, the dean of my faculty is a woman. For the 21 years that I've been an academic at the University of Tehran, 17 and a half of those years, the dean of my faculty was one woman or another. Don't misrepresent Iran. It doesn't work anymore, Piers. Your Western empire is on the decline. The whole of the global South is witnessing the crimes that are being carried out by your regimes. And your declining regimes are now despised by your own people. You're crushing people, students who are protesting genocide. You're not even crushing students who are protesting your own government for something that they're doing at home. You're crushing students for protesting genocide in another country. But you can't tolerate that. And your media is controlled by a group of rich people. They control the narrative, and you call that a democracy. Your choice is either Hillary Clinton or Biden or Trump. And then when that decision is made, the whole of Europe, Canada, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand fall in line as good soldiers. You don't have democracy.
Now, I love the way that Dr. Marandi was able to kind of get to the crux of it really quickly with Morgan and rebuke his claims, because quite frankly, Piers Morgan was coming across as a very imperial colonialist manner, talking about Iran, a country he's never visited, a country he doesn't know much about, he doesn't know the language of, he doesn't know the culture very well, but he's speaking about it with authority because the propaganda that he's been fed about that country has skewed his judgment. I'm putting that to the side for now. The claims that Mr. Morgan was making about the West, here in the West we do such and such. Now, first of all, the West is not some kind of monolithic entity, okay? The West includes the United States of America. Even the United States itself can be looked at in different ways, depending on where you are in the United States. Then you've got, obviously, Western Europe, and Western Europe is very different. France is very different to the UK. The UK is very different to Germany, and the rural areas are very different to the urban areas. So there is some kind of differentiation one must make from a sociological perspective when talking about this West that you're talking about. The second thing is this. It's actually demonstrably false what Mr. Morgan was saying when he was saying that here in the West women can wear whatever they want. It's not actually true that in the West women can wear whatever they want. If a woman walks naked into the streets, she will be arrested in many of the, if not most of the Western countries. If a woman wears a bikini into a secondary school in the United Kingdom, she might not be arrested, but she will be told to go home. And she may even be reported on the news, because that is something seen, at the very least, to be unusual behavior, and probably by British people to be a provocative thing to do for a woman to do in front of secondary school boys, let's say, year 9, year 10, year 11 boys. It wouldn't be accepted in any of the secondary schools in this country. So this idea that either legalistically or institutionally a woman can wear whatever she wants in the West is demonstrably false. There are cultural constraints, there are legal constraints, and there are institutional constraints. A woman can wear a bikini in a beach, that's culturally acceptable in the West, but if she wears a bikini in a bank, that's culturally unacceptable in the West. And that is a form of constriction. Now, it might be surprising for Mr. Morgan to know that there is no prescribed Islamic punishment for a woman not wearing the hijab. in the Qur'an or Sunnah. It's something surprising for you to know, maybe, that actually she cannot be forced to wear a headscarf or something like that by a stranger man or by the police or something. She cannot be forced in that manner. There is nothing that I have read, and I have studied this subject formally. There is nothing that I have read in any of the, what you refer to as abwab al-fiqh, or the chapters of jurisprudence, Islamic jurisprudence, which indicates that there is a rigid punishment or a prescribed punishment or something that the Prophet Muhammad said, or something that is mentioned in the Qur'an relating to a punishment for a woman not wearing a headscarf. Now, of course, just like the West, there are going to be constraints as to what a woman can wear. If a woman wears nothing in the streets in a Muslim country, there may be action taken against her, but that's not something which the Sharia spells out in any black and white sense. So people have to use their common sense, just like they do in the West, in the Muslim countries, as to the extent to which a man or a woman can display certain aspects of themselves, certain genitalia or otherwise in public. That's the first point. So this misnomer that in the West you can do what you want, and in the East, it's all constrained and it's an authoritarian regime and all these kind of things, is false. Mr. Marandi, or sorry, I should say Dr. Marandi, was able to decipher some of the things, and he was able to say, look, I had a boss that was Iranian, a woman, and he had this many women. We've got pilots that are women. We've got this much representation of women. That's a good thing for him to mention, which shows that inherently he's not against the fact that women are in the workplace, and Muslims are not inherently against women working. This is a misnomer of Islamic religious teachings. Okay, there are some aspects of man or woman going into the workplace, or a woman that's got a child or something, which obviously the motherhood aspect is emphasized above and beyond working for a woman. And I've done a whole seminar on Western feminism, actually, which you can access on this channel. 2 hours seminar where I deconstruct the patriarchy, the ideas of the patriarchy. I deconstruct aspects of feminism, which a lot of Western commentators, when they're otherizing or otherwise orientalizing or otherwise looking at the Orient or the East in a certain way, they use a colonial feministic paradigm to do so. Actually, when they do so, they first have to justify why they believe in feminism. Why is that the truth? When we've seen, as an example, the paradox of female happiness as a sociological phenomena, which shows that despite increased rights after the 1960s, after second wave feministic activism, women have actually increased in their depression, in their sadness in the West. Don't tell me this is a woman's freedom, and that the West is some kind of bastion and some kind of a utopia and some kind of an ideal place, okay, for Western women. Western women have their own struggles, psychological, pathological, sociological studies, and struggles which are different, are differentiated markedly, and sometimes worse in many ways than the most impoverished and disenfranchised women that you'll find in Africa, Asia, or elsewhere. So this misnomer needs to be rectified. So I really like the fact that Dr. Marandi was able to show that actually this is coming off the back of the Epstein scandal, essentially, showing that this is part of Western culture, frankly. You guys, in your Western culture, your elites, they indulge in eating children, they indulge in raping children, they indulge in sexual assault against people, prostitution, by the way, and this is, I read in this excellent book that I also recommended in the seminar by Lewis Perry called A Case Against the Sexual Revolution, that actually these aspects of sexualizing women, which Dr. Marandi was speaking about, they actually are in the interest of men more so than they are in the interest of women. And in the first chapter of her book, she mentions Hugh Hefner. Actually, it's an interesting parallel now with the whole Epstein situation, because the Epstein revelation is Hugh Hefner on steroids. And you cannot say that level of sexual promiscuity and permissiveness leads to a sociological net positive result for women in the West. And this is the case that she's a reactionary feminist, Lewis Perry makes in her book. So that's one aspect of things. The second thing is, so you got Epstein. It's part of your culture to exploit women. It's actually part, in a way that's different, markedly different from any other culture in the world, especially with your elites. You're not in a position to be morally grandstanding and morally, in a sanctimonious sense, speaking down at all of these other cultures. Piers Morgan, you should have learnt your lesson a long time ago. And you have to educate yourself on these things because it just comes across as colonial. I'm happy the way that Dr. Marandi dealt with it. And that's all I have to say. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You probably don't deserve to watch this video. Your level is honestly too low to watch this video. So feel free to click away from the video. But for the few who can handle responsibility, we're building the only masjid in a village in Norway. First payment is already done. Final 500,000 remaining. Huge sadaqah jariyah waiting. If you're serious about Islam, you'll pause the video and you'll click the link below to donate right now. If not, enjoy the comment section.